Today, we're diving into the best standalone training method in boxing, Padwork. Boxing training has evolved over the years, introducing various forms of preparation to sharpen skills and fitness. Among these innovations, Padwork stands out as the cornerstone of modern boxing training. Let's explore why.
Padwork is the best form of training any boxer can do. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because there's different forms of padwork. A lot of the times people look back at the old coaches back in the day, the Sugar Ray Robinsons, and they'll say these fighters back then were greater than they were today. They never hit no pads. Because they never hit no pads, that must mean padwork must not be the best. But I'm going to explain to you why padwork is the standalone best form of training. Because when you practice padwork, your coach is in front of you. He can practice your technique. You can perfect on certain drills. But it's the only form of training other than sparring which you're with another person. You're with another person which you can imagine is a combatant. You can imagine that's the person you're fighting. So something I like to call predictive boxing, which is action-reaction. When you throw said punches, it's very likely that your opponent will throw specific counters back.
Here I am, working with world-class coach Angel Fernandez on set-piece drills and reactive boxing. He throws a set punch, and I respond with a pre-planned counter. This is predictive boxing, focuses on counterpunching and footwork, drilling skills that are best developed through Padwork. Angel, who has worked with top-level boxers like Anthony Joshua, brings world-class expertise to his training. While sparring combinations can also develop these skills, Padwork offers an advantage of avoiding the wear and tear of taking actual punches. There's small subtle things that are being worked on also. The angle of attack, the angle of defending. Look, as I step and pivot, there's a specific angle that Angel and myself are making sure that I step at. These are all the things that come into Padwork when you have a coach that understands boxing with a coach that has previously boxed before. I'm going to go over these angles, go over these techniques repetitively, over and over again, until to the point it's second nature.
So if I'm on the pads with my boxing, if for a jab cross, I'm most likely going to throw a hook. If I was to keep doing this over and over again, my boxer's naturally going to know to roll under that shot. And when they fight, they're going to naturally know how to avoid the counter punch. They're not going to get hit with counters. That's one way. When you're doing padwork, you're going to be able to teach your boxer all of these things. Another thing is this. When you're doing padwork, if you're a coach that's boxed before, your rhythm rubs off on your boxer. So if I'm on the pads right now, and when you're on the pads, you shouldn't just be standing here like this. Well, I understand that if you're with a boxing beginner, you're going to be a lot more stationary. But when you're in the ring with an advanced boxer and you're doing padwork, you're agile, you're in your stance, you're trying to make them help them visualize the opponent. I'm like, jab, jab, jab. I'm like, I do a little thing. I'm trying to keep them sharp. I'm trying to keep them honest. I'm trying to keep them on their toes. And the more you're doing this, the more you're moving around the ring. You're trying to cut your boxer off. Maybe you're telling your boxer to try to cut you off. But the way you move is going to teach your boxer. It's going to give him experience.
This is a training method I developed most with my coach Ben Doughty. Ben was my first professional coach and he taught me the most about the art of boxing. If I ever box again, it'll be with Ben Doughty in my corner. Ben's style as a boxer is fluid. Think Sugar Ray Leonard. He's got a sharp jab, fast hands, and great reactions, and incredible angles. Training with someone like Ben transforms your boxing dramatically. Here, we are working on flowing padwork drill. Ben has one pad, one glove on the body belts. This isn't rigid set-piece drills. It's a dynamic and reactive. If Ben throws a jab, I might slip and counter to the body, integrating moves we've previously practiced into a natural organic flow. This kind of padwork is the best preparation for a fight, in my opinion. It's the closest thing to an actual boxing bout without sparring.
This is something that the bag work can't do. The bag work can't do this. The bag work is a stationary object that you're just pounding away. A sparring partner can do this, but a sparring partner, again, is going to be punching your boxer in the face. It's giving them damage. It's a lot more wear and tear than padwork. So when you're doing padwork, you can help sharpen up your boxer's counters, help keep your boxer smart, help develop the experience. Now, every time my boxer throws a 1-2 and I throw a hook, that's experience he's gaining, but he's not getting punched in the face. Because if he was sparring, if he was having fights and he was developing this alertness, this experience, he's going to be getting hits. a lot of the time before he starts defending the shots, which is going to have a lot of wear and tear on the boxer. So me and my coach, Ben Doughty, we used to do this type of pad work very often. Sometimes we'll have pads and the gloves on, and he might say to me, 1, 2, 3. Then he might pop jab his back. And what I realized was Ben Doughty has really good rhythm and timing and speed. And I made my head movement really good. I was really agile. I was really good at being able to predict what angle a punch would come from. And this was purely down to the pad work I'd done with Ben. In fact, my second pro boxing fight, which I won on points, I had a big nasty cut. I was sparring Ohara Davies, and they gave me a big nasty cut with a big right hand punch. Now, I couldn't spar on the build up to that fight, but what I did do was a lot of pad work. We done pad work, working really fast and explosive punches, but we done pad work where my coach was aware I had a cut, so he wouldn't hit my cut, but he would throw shots towards me, and I would just be defending them. So I'm still developing the visualization of seeing punches come towards me. I'm still seeing it and being able to perceive the information of a shot coming towards me and defend it. And that is what prepared me for the fight. And that was the fight which I believe I was the sharpest. That was my best. Well, not my best. Yeah, that was my best. My best performance was my second pro fight, and that was because we heavily focused on the pad work and doing those type of drills in the pad work.
It's not very clear. This was 2015, I believe. But look, you can see how sharp I am. I'm really sharp at throwing these combinations because we practice them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 3 to the body. 1, 2, 3, roll. So what happened is during the bouts, I could throw these combinations in an instant. Once the situation appeared in front of me, boop, I could let my hands go. Boop, I could let my hands go. Defensively, I was also a lot better because I had been in said different situations with Ben Doughty attacking me, and I had to respond with set-piece defense moves. So I know from certain angles I can definitely defend a punch by doing X, Y, Z, for example.
Another type of pad work that we used a lot, which is more similar to a punch bag, is when you wear the body belt. Now, wearing the body belt, it gives you the advantages you get from punching a heavy bag, because when you punch a heavy bag, it doesn't move. Your shot sinks into it, and all that energy goes back into your arm. You absorb it. For hitting a human body that could be anywhere from 80 to 100 plus kg, that's a lot heavier than a bag, a lot more dense than a punch bag, and it's going to help develop your strength. In your punches.
Here, we see Mayweather working the body belt with Nate Jones, one of his boxing coaches. Mayweather's training was heavily centered around pad work, and it's a key element that's defined his success. Whether it was speed pad combination drills, set-piece moves, or defensive counters, everything was built around the pad work to sharpen his boxing IQ, offense, defense, and counterpunch. While Mayweather also hit bags and shadow box, the core of his training and what made him famous was his pad work. The addition of body belt drills added a unique dimension to his preparation. Speed pad drills were excellent for developing reactive boxing, memorizing set-piece moves, and making technique second nature. But with the body belt, it's a different challenge. Nothing is coming back at you, but the drill simulates pressure as a larger man walks towards you, forcing you to work while under constant pressure. Unlike a heavy bag, the body belt adds realism. You're being walked down whilst you're throwing punches. This training enhances punch endurance because you're hitting an object that absorbs the force every shot, making it an invaluable part of Mayweather's routine. Another modern-day great is Mike Tyson. While Tyson's training included everything from bag work, running, sparring, and shadowboxing, we've also seen iconic clips from hitting the pads. Through pad work, Tyson worked in his footwork, defense, counterpunching, and creating angles, all critical elements of his style. Mike Tyson used pad work to develop and refine his skills in a way that encompasses all forms of boxing training. This suggests that pad work was an integral part of shaping one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, much how it shaped Floyd Mayweather. Now, some argue that former greats didn't use pad work and still achieved incredible success. But is that because they didn't need it, or was it in spite of not having it? I'd argue it's the latter. It was in spite of not having pad work. At the time, pad work wasn't the standard part of training, but boxing has evolved. Today, fighters are constantly looking for ways to improve, and pad work has become a cornerstone of modern boxing, helping fighters develop skills and attributes that previous generations may have lacked. It's a testament to how boxing training continues to grow and adapt.
Now, when you look at everything, every other form of training, I think the only thing that could even rival pad work is bag work. And as I'm showing you now, bag work, there's so many different levels to pad work that bag work can't come close to. So this is the reason why I believe if you're a pro boxer, you really need to be doing a lot of pad work, but not just simple jab, cross, hook, roll. You need to be doing a lot more different types of pad work if your coach has the ability to do so with you, because you're engaging with an opponent, you're engaging with a boxer, a former boxer who might have a ton more experience than you have. Let's say now, Ben Doughty. He started boxing before I was even born. So the experience that he's gained when we're doing pad work, when we're doing movement, when we're doing rhythm, it's perfected to a level that now it's rubbing off on me. And it's almost as if the boxer is receiving a cheat code. So that's just a little take on what I believe is the best form of training for a boxer, and it's pad work. It's pad work, but it's reactive pad work. It's pad work, but it's more realistic pad work. It's more fight-specific pad work. And that's why I believe it is the best form of training for any boxer to do.